Minasan, namaste. Nihongo no EPG no Pathshala yokoso. Watashi wa Kanna Anita desu. Kyou no eipa no dai wa Nihon bungaku no shoukai. これはペーパー6と違って英語で日本文学について話します。それでは英語で申し上げます。An introduction to Japanese literature in English is the title of this paper, and today we will study about Kino Tsurayuki, the leader of transition. It's not leader in the sense of political leader or there was some reforms or changes. This is the one who led the change from the Chinese systems onto the Japanese vernacular. The usage of kanji was less, and he introduced the preface in kana, which is called the Kanajo. Let's study about him today. As we know, towards the end of 794, politically the system of ranks and files, that is Ritsuryo system, which was modeled after China, had been modified. That was because of the changes which were brought about to incorporate the system of regency called Sessho Kampaku. This new office of regents was used to protect or promote the vested interest of a few, and it resulted in the dominance of the Fujiwara family throughout the Heian period, with the Fujiwara no Michinaga as the epitome of success, political as well as material. So in 804, Yoshifusa no Fujiwara saw the seeds of the system Sessho Kampaku, the regents under which emperor had only formal power in his hands. On the other hand, the statesmen of Fujiwara clan acted as the regents. They adopted various strategies in order to seize the regency in their name and exercise the actual authority. It was this, as I mentioned earlier also, which promoted the literature by women, the Joryo Bungaku of Heian period. And also the main strategy of the Fujiwara family was to marry their daughters into the imperial or the family, especially the crown prince, and become the maternal grandfather of the future emperor. The condition being that the regents has to be a blood relation of the emperor. This was the only way they could fulfill this condition. Not only that, they also made deliberate attempts, the Fujiwara clan, to bring about the political downfall of those aristocrats and families who were close to the throne. One such aristocrat was Kino Tsurayuki, a renowned scholar and poet from the famous Ki family, and another statesman was Sugawara no Michizane. We are going to focus on Kino Tsurayuki today because he was the one who did the soft transition by introducing kana preface and providing a model for the Nikki Bungaku. In this case, the period of transition implies that the native Japanese traditions were taking shape, blending with and displacing the existing Chinese models present there, especially in art as well as literature. This process was accelerated due to the discontinuation of Japanese embassies to China that were instrumental in transporting the Chinese models to Japan under the Ritsuryo system. Yet, as we are aware that unlike the political or historical transitions, the cultural transitions or those in literature don't take place overnight. There was a time when both coexisted until the Kana writings finally overtook the Kambun, especially pure Kambun style, and merged in the form of Hentai Kambun and pure Kana. And Kana writings ultimately came to dominate the literary scene. Therefore, despite the growing popularity of waka, the Japanese poetry in Kana, the trend of writing prose as well as poetry in Kambun style was regarded as pure literature. A notable work of this is Honcho Monzui by Fujiwara no Akihira. It's a collection of about 100 pieces written on Chinese poetry and prose by 70 scholars. This work had a special feature of expressing criticism of the society under the Fujiwara family, a trend not seen earlier. Although such criticism of the authorities was not targeted at any particular individual or policies of the government, but aimed at political setup as a whole about what was happening in the four walls of the court. However, gradually the merger of these two traditions of Chinese and vernacular became evident in the works of single writer, which we find mostly single writer who is also associated with the flourishing trend of monogatari, the Tsukuri monogatari, Uta monogatari, etc. And his name is Minamoto no Shitago, who preferred to be anonymous in order to avoid the criticism by others for indulging in fiction or monogatari, which was not accepted by the elite. This trend of using Kambun as well as the Kana for the literary writings continued and was carried forward by writers Fujiwara no Kinto and Oeno Mafusa, who were known for their Chinese scholarship and writings. A glaring example of this blend is Fujiwara no Kinto's anthology Wakan Ro-e Shu, which has 588 poems, out of which 216 poems are waka poems and the rest are kanshi or the poetry in Japanese. Ro-e Shu, or the anthology of songs in Japanese and Chinese, was compiled in 1013. This anthology also includes Chinese poetry by the famous scholar Sugawara no Michizane, Minamoto no Shitago, Kinto himself and Oeno Mafusa. The writers who came into prominence and officially represented these two poles or extremes of the converging trends are Kino Tsurayuki and Sugawara no Michizane. Kino Tsurayuki adopted the new wave of Kana and became the trendsetter, whereas Sugawara no Michizane represented the Chinese scholarship but On his single advice, the Emperor Daigo discontinued the long tradition of sending embassies to China called Kentoshi. Well, back to the new wave of Kana writings. We focus on the Kino Tsurayuki, who was an intellectual of the times from Ki family. But he also suffered a setback under the dominance of Fujiwara politics. His forefathers were the aristocrats and they were powerful in the region bordering Ki, the present Wakayama prefecture, Izumi and Osaka area, as well as Yamato, the Nara prefecture. Due to the political maneuverings of the Fujiwara family, they fell to oblivion, and it was to the extent that neither the position of his father Kino Mochiyuki is known, nor is the date of birth of Tsurayuki. The only facts which are known is that he was over 20 years of age when the embassies to China were discontinued. We know that Kino Tsurayuki worked in the Imperial Records Office as a librarian for some time during his 30s. Also, his reputation as a poet was well established at the time when Waka poetry was gaining popularity. Very little is known about Kino Tsurayuki's personal life. He engaged himself with the studies of Chinese poetry and prose and mastered the techniques of Waka as well. Emperor Daigo wanted a collection of the best poetry of the times, and so he ordered officially a group of poets, including Kino Tsurayuki, to edit a collection of the best Japanese poetry. It included the poems which were not found in Manyoshu also. The other three poets were given the job of compilation of this officially commissioned work, and it was Kino Tsurayuki who was asked to write a preface in Kana, which has become a Kana Jo, which could be called the first work on Japanese poetics, especially of Waka. Needless to say, a man of Kino Tsurayuki's stature had played a central role in the compilation of Koken Waka Sho, the first commissioned anthology of Waka poetry, and contributed 102 poems in the collection. He became famous for his preface in Kana. It's a unique feature that this first commissioned anthology of Waka, named Koken Waka Sho, had two prefaces. It had a prologue and epilogue. The prologue, famous as Kana Jo, and the epilogue came to be known as Mana Jo, one written in vernacular Kana and the other in Kambun. The preface in Kana comprises of two essays relating the essence and nature of Japanese poetry. In the very beginning, poet Tsurayuki pointed to the very essence of Japanese poetry and wrote, "The Japanese poetry of Waka stems from the human heart and grows into countless leaves that find expression in the description of things the poet hear or see. Who shall not be touched on hearing the warblers sing, on viewing the cherry blossoms and hearing the song of frogs in the water dwellings?" Next, regarding the impact of poetry, poet Tsurayuki points, it is the poetry which, without any effort moves heaven and earth, stirs the feeling of the invisible gods and spirits, smoothen the relation of men and women, and calms the heart of fierce warriors. According to the poet, such songs came into being when heaven and earth first appeared. However, as per the legend, in the heavens they begin with Princess Shitateru, and on the earth with the songs of Susanoo no Mikoto, the famous brother of the sun goddess. Amaterasu no Omikami composed a poem on Izumo when he saw clouds of 8 colors rising above the land. Yakumo tatsu Izumo yaegaki sumagome ni yaegaki tsukuru sono yaegaki o. In English, one can sum up it as in Izumo province, the 8-fold clouds rise, forming an 8-fold fence. It becomes an enclosure for the husband and wife, and this 8-fold fence. Regarding the subject matter of poetry, the poet says that waka in general represents the poems on topic like on wearing garlands of plum blossoms, poems on hearing the nightingales, on breaking of the branches or twigs of the autumn leaves, on seeing the snow. We have also chosen poems on wishing one's lord the lifespan of the crane and tortoise, the pair of crane and tortoise being the symbol of longevity, as well as on congratulating someone. Also, some of the topics are on yearning for one's wife when one sees the autumn bush clover or the grasses of summer, as well as on offering prayer strips on Osaka Hill, on seeing of someone on a journey, and on miscellaneous topics that cannot be categorized under the theme of Shiki or the 4 seasons. So the topics may vary from the beauties of nature, joys and sorrows of life, love, parting and death, and other miscellaneous topics. Tsurayuki in the preface Kanajo also eulogized Kakimoto no Hitomaro, the famous poet of Manyoshu, as the saint of Japanese poetry, and he comments that, or rather concludes the preface with the remark that although Hitomaro is no more, but poetry is still with us. Times may change, joy and sorrows may come and go, but the words of these poems are eternal, endless as the green willow threads, unchanging as the needles of the pine, long-lasting as the trailing vines, permanent as birds' tracks. Those who know poetry and understand the heart of things will look up to the old and admire the new, as they look into and admire the moon in the broad sky. Kino Tsurayuki categorically asserts that it is waka and not the Chinese poetry which comes under the purview of Japanese poetry. He comments about the major poets of the age and the rulers who wrote waka, and his Kanajo on waka poetics set the standard for all the waka collections in the years to come.